Ancestral bonds, a story and tips to get started. Over the past week, I have been cleansing and resetting my altar spaces. It started from a place of seasonal change in general, but the more I moved, the more I realized a problem. I had become so focused on the work with my deities that I hadn't been talking as much with my ancestors. I've also been struggling with something in my life, something with which my deities have been little help with. Not because they won't, but because it's not their area in my practice. It is the ancestors' domain. In the neglect of my ancestral work grew a reflection of that in my living life. Domains. In my personal practice and spiritual path, each of my primary bonds were built in specific ways and for different purposes, creating domains for them. The Mother of Souls, my goddess, is focused on the transformations, evolution, and growth of my soul and self. This includes personal and internal transformation, boundaries, spirit work, healing, shadow work, perspective, sovereignty, and so forth. The foundations of myself and my work. The Father of Worlds, Kari, is focused on how I interact with the world, other people, community building, judgment and justice work, and things in that nature. Very community driven, how I approach and interact with it, and what I create and nurture within it. The Guardians of the Temple do have a guardian aspect to them, but their primary role is in magical ritual work. They contribute specific boosts and power to the work while containing it in protected spaces as I weave those threads together and then carries it outwards when I'm done. My ancestors, though, have a different role. As my deities have roles that are ultimately for beyond myself, my ancestors are all about me, my personal life. Ancestral soul is unique because it is the collective that is directly affected by all my choices through all my lives as it is me. It has more vested interest in me than any other bond I have because in death I'll be blended into it. It could only help me with what it already possesses, though, and from a knowledge and skill type of standpoint. My blood ancestors, though, are different. Blood ancestors are ones connected to me through bonds of familiar energy of blood. Because my DNA carries parts of their DNA, it creates a like energy type of bond. Some are part of my ancestral soul, but the majority are not. Because that family tree is massive. Not just direct lines, but all the small interconnections and offshoots, generation after generation, depending on which were passed specifically to me and connected in that like energy. I also don't have that like energy with all of those in my family tree. Some are dropped because each parent only one passes some. The half varies for each child born. It is why siblings of the same parent get different DNA results. Blood ancestors do not have to have the same direct stake in our lives as the ancestral soul does. But they can, if we intentionally build bonds with them, they can take that stake in our life. These are the ones I'm focusing on in this article. The ones who have been tapping their feet at me. The ones that I have built those intentional bonds. Ancestral bond. I have several different blood ancestors that I have intentionally developed close bonds with over the years. My 4 Ozark women, my 2nd through 5th great grandmothers in my maternal line, Adeliza, and several others. Each of them has told me stories about their lives, giving me a deeper understanding and perspective on certain topics, and has assisted me in many direct workings concerning my own life. They are connected to me, but are forces beyond me. They have different abilities and agency that come in very handy, especially in spell work and life aspects. The relationship of exchange is very similar to the one that I have with other spirits and my deities. I get something I want, they get something they want. The most important of which is spending time with them, talking to them, listening to their stories, baking certain things. It's the aroma that seems to be their goal there. And being able to have an active role in my work. My failings. I have been sorely slacking at this on my side the last couple of months. This really started to come through loud and clear as I was rearranging and then the conversation with them this morning. Looking back, I can see all the subtle clues and hints. And if we're being honest, some big neon signs. But I was too hyper focused in one area to see clearly. Tunnel vision happens. Unlike my deities, hearing my blood ancestors requires me to focus myself in that direction. It's odd, and I'm not sure why it's different for them, but definitely something I'll be asking and diving into later. Nonetheless, I have some bond healing to do where they're concerned. First, I'll be making a breakfast cake and filling the house with cooking smells. Food always seems to be a good start. Next, I'll rearrange how I'm currently working my time to ensure they have opportunities every day to converse. I'll light their candle every day to welcome them in. Lastly, a prayer of honoring and surrendering. It's time to humble myself a little and give them recognition for the large role they've come to play in my life. I think the prayer will be something like this. From blood to bone, roots are grown. From memory and knowledge, I pay homage. What was and what is creates what will be. Make yourself known, let yourself be seen. Blood of my blood, I call upon you now. In my hour of need, show me how to move and weave that which I need. We all make mistakes. We all get consumed at times and lose sight of important things. Guilt isn't going to fix it, though. Owning it and correcting it will. I messed up, and it's time to make amends. Not all, but some. I don't work with or invite all my blood ancestors. I don't have an intentional bond with all of them. And to be honest, there are some shady and scary ones that I've encountered. This is for the ones that I currently have that kind of relationship with. The ones that have shown up and worked for this bond just as I have. Exchange is an important foundational aspect for me. If you are just getting started with ancestral work, may I offer a few helpful suggestions that have helped me? Number 1, don't worry about knowing their name. They will eventually tell you. Start with an open invitation. Blood of my blood, the ones who want to help me heal, grow, and succeed in this life. I welcome you to make yourself known, or I invite you into this space. Something like that. In my experience, the dead really like smells for whatever reason. So perhaps bake some fresh bread, nice smelling dessert kind of a candle, put on a simmer pot to help draw them in. Make it something you like, though, that will draw the ones you resonate with. Number 2, set up some type of altar space for them. It doesn't have to be fancy, big, or have a lot of stuff on it. Make it cozy, though, something inviting. Now, others may disagree with me here, but I feel a candle is a must. Real, electric, doesn't really matter. The light is a beacon. And cultures all around the world have been lighting fires, lighting candles in remembrance of the dead in some form or fashion. Get creative. Number 3, talk to them. Tell them about your day, anything you're struggling with. Share fun stories with them. Talk out loud with your voice. They are a spirit outside of you, not in your head. We're not talking ancestral soul, we're talking ancestors. Then give them some silent time to listen, to feel, to notice with your soul's senses, psychic senses. This is not only good from a bonding perspective, but also for helping you to develop your soul senses more. If you work with tarot, okay, number 4, if you work with tarot, ask them to tell you a story about them. I've written about this several different times. There's several different videos you can find in here that talk about tarot for conversation, how to use tarot and stitchomancy. I'll put out something eventually in the next couple of months, just one big video with all the updated versions of that. But you can find the information. I've also written about it numerous times over on Pathos. Number 5, make space for them in your practice in your life. Make some dedicated time just for them. It doesn't have to be daily, but should at least be a couple of times a week, in my opinion. Number 6, when you are cooking something, anything, use that time to invite them in. Chat with them or just focus your energy in their direction. Number 7, don't get hung up on figuring out who it is. Knowing a specific name, calling to one specifically, or anything like that in the beginning. Allow who wants to come, come. The ones who want to help you with your magic and your life goals, the ones who want to be part of your spirit family, get to know them as they come. If you pigeonhole it, then you may not get the ones who truly want to be there. There is also a problem of calling in those who are still doing their well work, but that's a whole other topic. Number 8, above all, have fun with it. Think outside the box, experiment, and find what feels right for you. My suggestions are just based on my own experiences and what I've found to be most effective for me. Find out what's most effective for you. Do you work with ancestors? Do you have any other tips or suggestions that might be helpful for those that's just starting down this road? What is one really meaningful thing in your own practice with ancestors? I'd love to hear about it in the comments below.